place we've seen a lot of trouble, the housing market. David Wessel has a great column today taking a look at whether all the props to the housing market that have been set up over the years have pushed us in the wrong direction. And he joins us now from Washington. Hello, Mr. Wessel. And I'm curious in particular what you think should be done at this point to sort of reverse the overemphasis that we've put on housing.
Well, I think we've learned a lesson from this crisis, but we haven't yet responded. We have for decades over-celebrated homeownership as a virtue, and I think we've blindly thought of the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage as some kind of constitutional provision that we are entitled to. I think they're both wrong.
You called it a unique and costly strain of mortgage. And by the way, in Canada, they have 5-year mortgages for the most part. So why our 30-year loan?
I was particularly struck by a comment that made to me by Michael Lee of San Diego State University, a housing economist, who said that many other countries have just as much home ownership as we do, yet they don't have the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The point is that if you get a fixed-rate mortgage that you can prepay at will, it means that you're paying extra for that option. Call it a derivative that protects you against rising interest rates and allows you to benefit from falling interest rates. So mortgage rates would be lower if not for that. And the second thing is that the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is part of the reason we have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are turning out to be perhaps the biggest taxpayer bailout of the entire crisis. And so they're right for somebody, but neither home ownership nor a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage should be seen as the automatic first choice of everybody. It requires some thought because both of them have downsides.
Yeah, good point.
David, as you point out, there is a huge. This is the result of decades of political strategy in Washington. Do you see any recognition on the part of lawmakers that maybe this is not the way to go? Is there a rethinking happening?
No, I think it's very deep in our culture. It goes back to 1918 when the Labor Department launched a Own Your Own Home campaign, that somehow in order to be a fully fledged member of the American middle class, you have to own a house. That will change very slowly. I think one way we would see the change, if it actually happens, is much more talk about the importance of rental housing and sort of statements from our politicians to Americans that some of you should rent, and that's okay.
And David,
but the industry is very strong on this, and the psyche is very strong, and so I don't see any change yet.
Last question, given the way the housing values have fallen in a lot of areas, would you recommend that people go out and snap up these bargains then, or should they just stick to their renting?
Oh, I'm not going to give people that kind of advice. I think there are two things to remember. One is you shouldn't buy more houses than you can afford, because the notion that you're going to grow into it at a time of slow economic growth or that rising house prices will bail you out. That we learned that those both are very risky bets. And the second thing is that you don't want to miss the mistakes of the past. So you don't want to tell people don't buy now,
right?
When we may be at a trough. So I just think it requires more thought than most people thought. It should not be automatic. It's right for some, it's not right for others.